A vibrant reality filled with life. That's how John Paul II described the church in India. And though, like any part of the world, it has its difficulties, the faith there is fervent, solid, and strong. India, of course, is a vast and diverse country. But in the short time today, we're going to highlight some aspects of the Catholic Church there. We'll speak with the Archbishop of an archdiocese in the northern part of the country, discuss interfaith dialogue, and discuss the persecution of Christians and signs of hope that he sees. We'll also explore a religious celebration that is the equivalent of the North American Thanksgiving, and we'll highlight a popular Marian Shrine in the south. That's all today on Catholic Focus. We begin with some of the holy men and women that are revered by Catholics in India. For many, when they think of the saints and blesseds associated with the country, they may first think of Blessed Mother Teresa of Calcutta. The founder of the Missionaries of Charity tirelessly ministered to the poor in the slums for over 45 years. There's also St. Francis Xavier, the co-patron of missionaries. He's credited with building up the church in Goa, and Catholics there even called him in their native tongue the Lord of Goa. Of course, there is St. Thomas the Apostle. Tradition holds that he brought Christianity to the region. And also among the holy men and women of India is St. Alphonsa of the Immaculate Conception. The Poor Clare sister was elevated to sainthood by Pope Benedict in October 2008. She's the first Indian woman to be canonized. And as in many parts of the world, Catholics in India have a special love for Mary, the Mother of God. This is evident at the Shrine of Our Lady of Good Health in the small town of Velankanni, located on the shores of the Bay of Bengal in southern India. The shrine has become a popular pilgrimage site, even called Lourdes of the East. There are three significant events related to the shrine, the first dating back to the 16th century. The first two events also involve Mary's appearance to a Hindu child. In both appearances, Mary asked for milk for the child Jesus, who was in her arms. During the second appearance, a crippled boy was healed, and he was instructed to tell a wealthy Catholic man in a nearby town to build a chapel. The wealthy man, who also had a vision of Our Lady, built the chapel and honored her under the name of Mother of Good Health. The final event involves Portuguese sailors. They credit Mary with rescuing them from a violent storm, which shipwrecked them on the coast. When they reached the shore of Velankanni, locals took them to the chapel. To give thanks and pay tribute to the Blessed Virgin, they built a permanent chapel. That chapel grew larger through restorations, and in 1962, Pope John XXIII elevated it to the rank of basilica. Liturgical celebrations occur there in English, Hindi, and other local languages, like Tamil and Kannada. An annual 9-day festival attracts more than 1.5 million pilgrims leading up to the September 8th feast of the birth of the Virgin Mary. That's a feast that's important to Catholics in India, and we'll talk more about that later in the show. But for now, we wrap up in the southern part of the country and head north. There are many challenges for the Church in a country where only 2% of the population identify themselves as Christians. But among those challenges, there is also growth and life. And joining me to discuss the Church in India, particularly the northern part, is the head of the Archdiocese of Agra, Archbishop Albert D'Souza. Welcome, Your Grace.
Thank you.
Now, tell us a little bit about Agra and about the people that you serve.
Yeah, the whole state is predominantly Hindu, and next majority are Muslims because of the Muslim kings who ruled the area. The Muslims are quite prominent, and second to Hindus. The Christians are a small group originated perhaps through the missionaries who went from other countries, and mainly because the British who ruled over the area. So therefore the presence of Christianity in my area called Agra dates back to 16th century, okay, when Emperor Akbar, who encouraged all faiths, and he built a church, and that is the church in my neighborhood, in my own campus. We use it even now for day-long adoration. It attracts a lot of crowds of people. So the Muslim king encouraged the presence of Christians in the place. So the tradition continues. The conversions took place among the people of the area. So Agra Archdiocese comprises of 17 civil districts with 26 million people, and I have just 16,000 Catholics spread in around 40 parishes and mission stations.
For the last couple of years, we've heard about Christian persecution in India, particularly in the Orissa region. Is this something that you've experienced in Agra as well, or has it been isolated to one area?
To my knowledge, historically, Christianity was welcome in Indian soil, not just as a matter of faith, but Hindu culture is tolerant, welcoming all religions. Hindus, Muslims live in harmony. Christians were friendly with both other sections. So there has not been a visible opposition until recent times. It's just a matter of socio-political variations that have been taking place for power craze of people. So there was animosity between Muslims and Hindus. It got shifted into Christianity. So in other words, smallest number, 2% national figure. In my area, I said 26 million and 16,000. But we hold still prominent institutions of education, healthcare, and social uplift of people. So across the boundaries of class, caste, and religion, Christianity serves all sections of people. That annoys our fundamentalist Hindu traditional believers. For them, belief it goes along with the caste system of people. By our approach to social reform, we bring people together into one community. Church as church is been targeted last 10 or 15 years on the socio-political dimension, not so much of faith level.
Maybe we can explain for our viewers the caste system. So this is like a hierarchy of classes, basically.
Yes.
Okay, so the challenge that the church is presenting, or the perception is that the church is educating people, and that this is making people more equal, and that's where the opposition is coming from.
Fundamentally, that is the issue, and that has been taken up by some political parties as an agenda to tell the general public Christianity pollutes Hinduism. And just as there are countries, Christian and Islam, there should be a country, Hindu country. So India ought to be a Hindu nation. No other religion should be permitted in the country. This is not accepted according to our secular democratic republic, that is India. We are guarded by the constitution, and we make our point clear time and again. And this is what I feel the recent persecutions are part and the role of the church, to be prophetic and suffer for what is truth.
What does it mean for the future of the faith in India? Is this something, do you see as the Archbishop, do you see that the people are more fervent in their faith, or are they becoming perhaps afraid and maybe leaving to other countries?
Visibly in my area, I feel the dialogue is alive, the dialogue of life, collaboration among people. Even now, I extend my activities, establish schools, promote human dignity and formation of human communities, which are welcome by Hindu leaders. Among lifestyle of our people, we intermingle very well in harmony. It is on the top level, political level, there has been a little animosity sown in the minds of people. As a church leader in my area, where we have strong Hindu hold, I don't see Christianity cannot grow. I believe God's ways are different, make us suffer, go through the harder way. Ultimately, the people are ready to welcome the truth. And that is seen when we celebrate Christmas, Easter. Churches are full. 2/3 will be non-Christians.
Really?
And the crowds we can't control on a Christmas day, from morning till night and the next day. So the people are ready to know more about Christ. because of our tolerance, service mind, selfless ways of being available and make our resources available beyond caste and religious barriers. So the people are seeing through. I'm talking of the common people who are ready to receive the truth, and that is a hopeful situation for us to continue our service among the people.
Now, there's been a lot about India in the news, about its tremendous growth, and a lot of people have been saying India and China are the next, I guess you could say, superpowers. And where does the church find itself in this rapid development and economic growth in India? How is the church meeting those pastoral needs?
There is a pattern of the church making its progress alongside the progress of the nation, and is also struggling to be taking part with the struggles of our people. And that is where the church now is finding it hard to identify itself with the poorest of the poor. We have schemes for the poor in the rural-based primary education, free health care, and promoting management technology institutions, school dropouts. But at the same time, the national scenario is going faster with the development as such. Supermarkets and highways, bridges are coming up to be used only by the richer people. So the suburbs, bridges and roads and transportation, it does not reach the poor. Yes. And you asked me a question of persecution of Christians in Orissa. This is one of the questions, that the development was taken to the rural areas that happened to be of only of the Catholic concentration, Christian concentration, schools, hospitals, and social uplift. The other counterpart or not Christians were left behind. The church has learned a lesson to take along with us both sections. And Hindu fundamentalists made use of the backward Hindu groups to rise against well-off Christians. And we as a church learned a lesson. We need to take the entire human community together, and we believe in working at forming human communities, restoring human dignity to people, and bring them closer to the kingdom of God, justice, fellowship, peace, and harmony.
Sure, regardless of their faith. And I mean, it certainly shows the importance of interreligious dialogue in India, and also dialogue with the government as well, in working together.
We have a full-time commission entering into dialogue at the national level, and every diocese has a unit. And as far as I'm concerned, we have established a Harmony Center in the city of Aligarh, where a Muslim majority. The center has come up, and we have constant interaction between groups of Hindu, Muslim, and Christians, denominational Christians together. Occasionally we have meetings and we live in, and there are prospects of all religions coming on a common understanding, avoiding clashes. We work towards harmony. In my diocese, we have a permanent unit. A priest leads the commission, and there are groups of people from Hindu, Muslim, and other ecumenical groups, and with the Catholics. And incidentally, it falls on the Catholic leadership, Christian Catholic clergy, to take the lead. Anyone else inviting for a meeting, there's a less response. I am happy to say future of the church in India will base on the growth we build up on interfaith dialogue. And our schools are known for national integration, interfaith prayers every morning. We begin the school with Our Father, then there will be a song of other faith, and then a prayer will follow. Then 15 minutes or 20 minutes, all our schools begin with Our Father, Christian prayer, that all join together. And interfaith atmosphere is maintained in our schools.
And we've been talking about some of the challenges, but what are some of the signs of hope that you see in the church?
Yeah, as I said, religion is deep-rooted in the psyche of Indians. They can't be without a religion. Communism has never taken roots in our society. So regardless of who is God. So we are better off in our country where people have many gods, mountain, forest, animals and birds. So when we propose to them, Jesus is the Lord, they have no difficulty, they accept. So they accept Christ. And those of them who are in contact with the church and prayer groups, they take up the Bible, they carry it home and they read the Bible. They are very eager to return for prayer groups, and we call them devotees of Christ. There are thousands of them who have accepted Christ in the heart, but we do not talk about baptism.
And if they were to be baptized, would that be a problem then with opposition?
I perceive that because of our brethren of smaller groups of Christians who are neo-Pentecostals have attempted to baptize, and that has invited animosity, and reconversion into Hinduism is taking place. So what I said is the way God is bringing about, there is a desire for people to know who is the true God, and we have presented Christ as the true God, and any cross, image, people come and worship and join in our prayer meetings. Therefore, there is hope. As Pope John Paul II, when he visited Delhi, he said it, third millennium is for Asia and cross will be planted in India. That annoyed people, and I interpreted cross is planted in India, cross of persecution has begun. So persecution is a part of the story of the church, and we do not feel hesitant. We have a few cases of a sister in Madhya Pradesh in central India, Rani Maria, that was killed. Some Jesuit priest was killed in Patna in recent years. In my own diocese 7 years ago, religious Capuchin, rather Franciscan brother was killed when he was asleep at night. So therefore, we do not hesitate. In fact, Hindu god Krishna is born in my neighborhood. It's a birthplace, it's a pilgrim place. And just 10 kilometers from the holy place of the Hindus, I'm moving forward after probably 50 years, a church, St. Michael's Church. And people are warning me, why are you building a church here? The Hindus may come and destroy. So Michael the Archangel will protect, because there are over 600, nearly 1,000 Catholics. We don't have a church. So my enthusiasm was to give them a church, and people would certainly find it a place where faith is proclaimed. To me, Christian center is a catalyst of social transformation, a reference point. A priest is well respected for education, healthcare, or social uplift. So that is our hope for the future. Hope is the Christ crucified. His resurrection is not too far.
Thank you, Your Grace, for being with us.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Now, Archbishop D'Souza comes from a large family. In fact, 4 brothers are priests. And while the Archbishop is ministering to the faithful in northern India, his older brother is ministering to the faithful in Canada. And he's helping to keep alive an important Indian Catholic tradition for those who have moved from India to live here. And that tradition is Monthi Fest.
There was a time about mid-18th centuries, most of the churches were destroyed in Mangalore, that is South Canara. Mangalore, the capital of South Canara, Mangalore Diocese. And when that happened, that church on the hill was spared, and that church was dedicated to Our Lady on the mountain, on the hill. So it's not a big mountain, it's a small hillock. And from then on, people continued the devotion to Our Lady. On the 8th of September, the churches get crowded more than any other feast. Monthi Fest is mountain festival, Our Lady on the mountain. This is faith and culture begin together, people celebrate it. In Canada, we have, in Toronto, we have it every year. First, we get together in the hall, we have the novena prayers, then by procession, we come to the church, we celebrate Mass, and by procession, we go back to the hall, we have our meal there, all vegetarian meal. The festival is ultimately the kind of Thanksgiving, where we thanks to God for all the field, the crops and the fruits and the vegetables that are grown, giving thanks to God, and that is associated with the birth of Mary. Mary being prepared for the birth of Jesus. So when we welcome Mary, in the same way welcome Jesus. And also it is a festival of family unity. And if some member of the family is not at home, some grain of rice is sent to each of the members of the family to indicate unity and oneness with the whole family in faith. And it is a magnificent celebration. People feel that they should not forget their culture, and they want to pass their culture on to their children, next generation. Though locally, people adopted themselves very well to local culture, at the same time, some glimpse of the idea of the culture back home. And that's very, very important.
John Paul II visited India twice, in 1986 for 10 days, and then again in 1999. In 1999, he was commemorating the release of the document, The Church in Asia. And speaking in New Delhi, Pope John Paul II said, "In the first millennium, the cross was planted firmly in the soil of Europe. In the second millennium, in Africa and America." And then he said, "So may the third Christian millennium witness a great harvest of faith in this vast and vital continent." And as we've seen, the harvest is certainly taking place in one Asian country, in India, rich in faith and tradition. That's Catholic Focus for today. If you have any comments, email us at focus@saltandlighttv.org. I'm Matthew Harrison. God bless.